introduce Greg Cooper, who is Deputy Director of Consumer Programs at Mass-DEP. Greg has had 20 years of working on solid waste issues, which is a long time for someone, a young man like you. He manages the Commonwealth's efforts on waste reduction, recycling, and including running technical assistance programs. And he's here to talk to us about really important legislation that's coming up in regard to our organic waste. Greg?
Thank you, Susan. So Susan had asked me to come and talk a little bit about the department's plans to divert organic material from our landfills and incinerators. And we've embarked on a comprehensive approach to address this waste stream. And I think I'll try to weave in a couple areas where I think it will tie in with what I sense from my being here for an hour or so. There's a lot of the farm community here, which I do think there are some strong ties with that. So, if you're not familiar, the state has a solid waste master plan where we lay out what our goals are in terms of managing solid waste in the Commonwealth. Currently, we have a goal that we would like to reduce disposal by 2 million tons annually by 2020. That would roughly bring the state's overall recycling rate up to about 60%. So a very aggressive goal that we've set. In addition, we have the Clean Energy Results Program, which is a collaboration between the Department of Energy Resources and the DEP to try to support and expand renewable energy in the Commonwealth. The primary goal where these two kind of sync together is in the area of diverting organic material to generate renewable energy. And our goal in the organic front is to divert an additional 350,000 tons per year of this material by 2020. Why are we focused on food waste and organic material? Well, from the waste characterization studies we have in the state, it shows that organics, including food waste, is about 25% of what we throw away. And that represents about 1 million tons, a little bit over 1.2 million tons of organic material is disposed of in landfills and incinerators in the state currently today. We see an opportunity to digest that material and create energy. We also see opportunities for creating compost out of that material, for composting that, and producing soil amendments and fertilizers. We think it can act as a complement for management solutions for dairy manure, other farm activities, and also wastewater residuals. We think that we can accomplish this diversion, that 350,000 ton per year goal, in a way that's cost effective for those generators of those waste, the businesses and institutions that generate a large fraction of the organic material being disposed. Once again, our primary, from my perspective, I'm the kind of solid waste guy in the state. We want to reduce the amount of disposal capacity we need so we don't have to build new incinerators and new landfills. So currently, the marketplace looks like this. We've got about 100,000 tons of food waste that's being diverted from disposal. That's primarily coming from larger generators, food processors, manufacturers. Supermarkets is a good example of that. A lot of supermarkets in the state, probably over maybe 2/3 of them are already diverting all of the organic material they generate, sending that off for composting. An example of the benefits of that is we're seeing that they're saving anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 per year in disposal costs per store. So they're not doing it because they want, they're doing it for a number of reasons. One of them is financial. The other is, they like to be a good citizen in the community. A lot of that material, as I mentioned, is going for composting. It's going to a lot of farms and small commercial sites. We've got over 25 of those locations currently. It's going to for animal feed, which is another positive use. We're seeing some on-site systems, meaning universities or other large generators are looking at systems that can compost the material, the food waste material they're generating right on their own campus, and they can use that material on campus. We know of at least 400 businesses and institutions that are already diverting food waste material. And we're seeing a large growth in the hauling industry to provide those food waste collection services. So about, I would say, close to 2 years ago, we started discussing our approach and how we wanted to go about diverting this organic material. And we've sat down with a group of stakeholders for over a year now and come up with a set of integrated strategies that will get us to the point where we can divert that amount of that 350,000 additional tons of material. We broke the Organics Action Plan is on our website, and I got a slide at the end that'll give you that web address. But it really has 4 major components: the data analysis, collection infrastructure, once you collect it, where you're going to take it, the markets for the end products, and then a section on regulatory reforms that we're going to go through, and I'll talk specifically about the waste ban in a moment. Back up one real quick. So the data analysis, just to give you an idea, is we've gone out and we've identified where are the generators of large amounts of food waste. And we've mapped that material and make that available on our website to help those people interested in collecting it or processing it know what might be in the close vicinity to where their operation may be. We've also looked at waste characterization studies to identify how much is out there, what types of food waste is out there. In terms of building the collection infrastructure, we've established an organization called Recycling Works in Massachusetts. It's out there to provide technical assistance to businesses in a whole host of solid waste areas and recycling. But mostly we've been focusing their attention on helping people divert organic material, set up programs, whether they're hotels, colleges, universities, large restaurants, hospitals. We've been asking them to go out and provide the technical assistance that these entities need to kind of start those programs up. As I mentioned, those are kind of the sectors we've been focusing on because they generate large quantities of material, and we feel and have proven that they can cost effectively divert all that material. In fact, as I mentioned, the supermarkets, most colleges and universities are actively diverting this material now because they see a cost savings in that. Additionally, we've embarked on, part of the building of the collection infrastructure is working with local governments to try to establish best management practices on how this material will be collected, stored on site, and then hauled away. So we've begun just recently. We had one meeting out in Western Mass last week. Today's meeting in Worcester was snowed out, but we were meeting with boards of health to discuss what are some of the issues we want to try and lay out so that health officials can address those concerns or desires when a generator comes in and says they want to start collecting food waste. Our goal is to hopefully develop best management practices that would be available to health officials to help kind of guide that process. What are we doing? And once you collect it, you got to have a place to take it. So one of the things that a few of the things that we've done in this area is we revised our solid waste siting regulations. I see the farming community as the best place for this material to go. One is they have the space. 2, they have the knowledge of how to manage, soils and deal with compost. They're typically probably doing that with some of their products already, their own waste products. They have a instant use for that material, either on their own farm or they can sell that material. We see this as a revenue stream. Obviously, if they're going to take it, they're going to get paid to take it. That's the way the solid waste industry works. So there's a revenue stream coming in, there's a revenue stream going out. They understand how to do it. And obviously, rebuilding the soils in our state is important. And this is one way to kind of achieve that. I'll give an example of what's kind of what I see the model, and I'd encourage folks, if they ever have an opportunity, to go look at the operation. There's Jordan Farm up in Rutland, Mass. They recently, a couple of years ago, it's been fully running for about a year now, installed an anaerobic digestion system. They have about 300 head of dairy cows. And what they did is they installed an anaerobic digestion system that takes all of their manure, plus they're taking about 50 tons a day, or 40 tons a day of, which is like 1 truck a day, tank truck a day, of liquid food waste from food processors. They're mixing this together in the anaerobic digestion system. They're generating about 500 to 750 kilowatt hours. They're powering their dairy operations and selling back to the grid the excess. They're using the digestate that comes out of that operation, both the solid fraction, they're drying it and using it for animal bedding. The liquid component they're applying to their hay fields. They just were reporting back to us that it eliminated the one whole season's worth of fertilizer application for them, saved them about $40,000. So, that's that point where I see farms as really a positive potential location to kind of complete that circle in terms of recycling, and I'd really like to encourage that, as I'm sure if Greg were here, he'd agree. So that kind of kind of ends my talk about it. We hope to move forward. We think it's going to be very successful, both from an environmental perspective, but also we think it'll drive some economic activity in the state also. So I'd be happy to take any questions. Yeah, we've provided, through our municipal grant application at Mass DEP's municipal grant application, we provide assistance for pilot collection operations. We're in the process. We provided a grant to the city of Cambridge, who's looking at pilot collection at the schools and some residential routes. We helped the town of Hamilton and Wenham start up their collection program. So absolutely, we are open to help provide assistance to foster more diversion of organics at the municipal level, whether it's from their own operations or from residents. Yes. So on the first question, I agree. I think that's going to be a decision based on the farm or the application, or the farm or the application they have in mind for that compost material. Whether they want to take in material, produce a product, and just sell it as a home use, as a kind of yard grass for use, or if they want to actually use it in their own farm. And I think that depends on the source of material, of where they're getting it. If you're getting the organic material from an organic food production operation, it may be great. So I think that's going to be a decision that the farm would need to make on their own in terms of what type of farm they operate and how they want the material to be managed. The other question on
40% of the smaller.
40%, yes. What we hope happens, the way we kind of envision this is, let's start the infrastructure with the large generators there who can cost effectively do it. We can set up the facilities, we can set up the collection system that way, and that it will slowly build to pull in a lot of those other generators in a more cost-effective way. It's somewhat unreasonable to ask a solid waste hauler to go to a Dunkin' Donuts off 44 and pick up the pail of coffee grinds at the end of the day. But if he's already going to the supermarket and 3 or 4 other places, then yeah, I'll stop in there and pick that up too. So that's how we see it. We then see municipalities, as they see the infrastructure, something that Cambridge has looked at is, where am I going to take my stuff? And they've been trying to figure that out before they do their pilot collections. But I see it coming. It's just, I think right now out of the gate, let's start with the large generators where we can cost effectively do it. Thank you again.